You walked into a car dealership last year. You were just browsing. You had told yourself that. You even told your partner that. You left with a car. You did not plan to buy a car that day, but a man in a slightly too shiny shirt asked you the right questions in the right order. He let you sit in the seat. He talked about your family. He mentioned a deal that ended today. He asked you to sign something just to lock in the price, and you signed. That is not weakness. That is science. And someone used it on you? 20 minutes. The whole thing. Let's go. What sales actually is. Most people think sales is about talking, the slick pitch, the flashy presentation, the guy who could sell ice to an Eskimo. That is not sales. That is performance. Real sales is about understanding what someone already wants and becoming the thing that gives it to them. People do not buy products. They buy outcomes. They buy the version of themselves that owns a product. They buy the feeling of safety, status, certainty, or relief that the product represents. Nobody buys a gym membership. They buy the body they want. Nobody buys a mattress. They buy good sleep and less back pain. Nobody buys a business coach. They buy the belief that they are finally going to make it. The product is just the vehicle. The emotion is the destination. This is the first principle of persuasion, and every technique that follows comes back to it. Sell the outcome, not the object. But understanding what people want is only half the equation. The other half? Knowing why people say no. The psychology of resistance. Every human being is born with a defense system. It was built for survival, to protect us from bad decisions, to stop us from being deceived. When someone tries to sell you something, that system activates. The moment you feel like you are being sold to, the walls go up. You cross your arms, you stop listening, you start looking for the exit. This is called psychological reactance, the scientific term for the feeling of, I do not want to be told what to do. And it is the single biggest enemy of every salesperson on earth. The amateurs try to smash through the wall. More pressure, more urgency, more features, more discounts. The professionals never let the wall go up in the first place. Here's how they do it. They make you think the idea is yours, not through manipulation, through questions. Instead of telling you what to think, they ask you questions that lead you to the conclusion yourself. What matters most to you in a car? How important is safety to your family? If I could show you a car that ticked every one of those boxes, what would stop you? You answered every question. You listed your own priorities. You effectively described your ideal car. Now, the salesperson shows you exactly that car. You do not feel sold to. You feel understood. That is not a trick. That is a skill. And the best persuaders in the world have spent years mastering it. The 6 triggers. In 1984, a psychologist named Robert Cialdini spent years undercover inside sales organizations. He worked at car dealerships, fundraising call centers, advertising agencies, door-to-door sales operations. He wanted to understand what actually made people say yes. What he found changed the way the world thinks about persuasion. He published it in a book called Influence, and it has sold over 5 million copies since. He identified 6 universal psychological triggers that drive human compliance. These are not opinions. They have been replicated in studies across dozens of countries and cultures. Here are the 6. Reciprocity. When someone gives you something, you feel compelled to give something back. Walk into Costco on a Saturday. Every aisle has a sample station. A tiny cup of juice, a sliver of cheese, a bite of sausage on a toothpick. Free. No obligation. Except there is an obligation. You just cannot see it. Costco does not give you free food because they are generous. They give you free food because it works. Products sampled in store see sales increases of up to 2,000% on that day. Not because the sausage is life-changing, because you took something for free and now you feel like you owe something back. Even if that something is just stopping to look at the product for 10 seconds longer than you otherwise would. The moment you accept the gift, you are no longer a stranger. You are in a transaction. Social proof. When uncertain, humans look to other humans for guidance. Reviews, testimonials, bestseller lists, waiting lines. All of them say the same thing. Other people chose this. Maybe you should too. It works even when the other people are strangers, even when the proof is manufactured. Authority. We defer to expertise, credentials, titles, uniforms, even confident posture all signal authority. Dentists sell toothpaste, doctors sell supplements, athletes sell trainers. The moment someone appears to be an expert, their persuasive power multiplies. Liking. You buy from people you like, Salespeople who find common ground, mirror your body language, remember your name, and smile at the right moments sell more than salespeople who do not. Not because the product is better, because you want to say yes to people you like. Scarcity. Things become more desirable when they are rare. Limited time, limited stock, exclusive access. These are not just marketing tactics. They trigger a deep evolutionary fear of missing out. The offer is exactly the same, but add the word limited and it feels more valuable. Commitment and consistency. Once a person takes a small step in a direction, they feel internal pressure to keep moving that way. Each yes makes the next yes easier. The first yes is the hardest. After that, inertia takes over. 6 triggers, and they work on everyone, including you. The foot in the door. Let me show you what commitment and consistency looks like in real life. Stanford University, 1966. 2 researchers wanted to understand compliance. They sent volunteers to knock on doors in a residential neighborhood in California. At the first house, the volunteer made a small request. Could we put a small 3-inch sign in your window supporting safe driving? Most homeowners agreed. Easy request, harmless sign. 2 weeks later, a different volunteer came back to the same houses. This time, the request was enormous. Could we place a large, ugly 6-foot billboard in your front garden? The billboard covered half the garden. It was genuinely hideous. At houses that had said no to the first sign, only 17% said yes to the billboard. At houses that had said yes to the small sign, 76% said yes to the billboard. The same people, the same ugly billboard. But the people who had said yes once were 4 times more likely to say yes again. They had already committed to a position. Safe driving matters, and in order to stay consistent with that position, they kept saying yes. This became known as the foot in the door technique, and it is used everywhere. Charities start with a small petition, then a monthly donation, then a larger annual gift. Software companies offer a free plan, then a paid upgrade, then an enterprise contract. Gyms offer a free week, then a monthly membership, then a personal training package. Get the first yes, and the rest follow. The dark side. Now you understand why those techniques work, but here's the part nobody talks about. The same science that helps a good salesperson match someone with a product they genuinely need can be used to sell someone something that ruins their life, and has been, many times. The 90s. A company called Lehman Brothers. Not the bank, not yet. Their mortgage division. Predatory lending at scale. They went into low-income neighborhoods in America with a simple pitch. You can own your own home. All you need to do is sign here. The fine print, variable interest rates that would explode after 2 years, fees buried in legal language, loans designed to fail. The salespeople knew. They called them ninja loans internally. No income, no job, no assets. Can you fog a mirror? Here is $400,000. By 2008, $300 billion in fraudulent mortgages had been packaged and sold to investors around the world. The housing market collapsed. 8 million Americans lost their jobs. Millions lost their homes. Persuasion had been turned into a weapon. The salespeople had used every technique in the book. Liking, authority, scarcity, commitment. They had just aimed it at people who could not afford to say yes. And when it collapsed, the salespeople got bonuses. The homeowners lost everything. That is the dark side of persuasion. Every single technique that makes a good salesperson effective also makes a predatory one dangerous. The technique does not care who uses it. The manipulation line. So how do you tell the difference between persuasion and manipulation? One question. Does the person saying yes benefit? If you genuinely believe your product improves their life, persuading them to buy it is a service. You are fighting through their default resistance to help them get something they need. If you know the product does not serve them, persuading them anyway is manipulation. The technique is identical. The intent is not. A customer who buys and regrets comes back for a refund, leaves a bad review, tells their friends. A customer who buys and benefits comes back for more, leaves a 5-star review, tells their friends. The manipulation game is short-term. The persuasion game is long-term. The greatest salespeople are not the ones with the slickest pitch. They are the ones with the highest repeat customer rate. How to actually sell. So what does this look like in practice? Let me show you 2 versions of the same sale, and you tell me which one works. Version 1. The Guru. You are scrolling Instagram. Someone you have never heard of pops up in your feed. The reel says, I made $10,000 last month from my couch. Here is how. You tap through to their profile. Every post is the same. Screenshots of Stripe payments, photos of laptops on beaches, captions that say freedom is a choice. You click the link in their bio. It takes you to a landing page. Big bold text. Learn my exact system for building a six-figure online business. Normally $997. Today, only $297. Timer counting down from 23 hours. You do not know who this person is. You do not know if their system works. You do not know if the screenshots are real. But the scarcity trigger is firing. The social proof of the payment screenshots is firing. The authority of the confident language is firing. So some people buy. And here is what happens next. You open the course. It is 12 videos recorded on a webcam in a bedroom. The content is stuff you could find on YouTube for free. The community group is full of people asking the same questions with nobody answering. The mentor you paid for is an automated email sequence. You feel stupid. But you do not ask for a refund because that would mean admitting you got played. So you just move on. And a month later, a different guru pops up in your feed with a different course and a different timer. And the cycle starts again. That is what happens when you use triggers without diagnosis. You are not selling a solution to a problem. You are selling a fantasy aimed at people who are desperate enough not to ask what is actually inside the box. That is manipulation dressed as sales. Now here is version 2. Say you are a fitness coach. You have built a small following on Instagram by posting free workout tips and nutrition advice. One day, someone sends you a DM. Hey, how much do you charge for coaching? Most people reply with a price list and a link to their program. That is the guru move. Pitch first, ask questions never. Here is what a good salesperson does instead. You reply with a question. What is your goal right now? What have you been doing so far? They say they have been going to the gym for 6 months, but they are not seeing results, and they are getting frustrated. Now you know the emotion. It is not about fitness. It is about feeling stuck, feeling like they are wasting their time. You ask, what does your current routine look like? What are you eating? They describe a random program they found on YouTube and a diet that changes every 2 weeks based on whatever influencer they saw last. Now you know the problem. It is not effort. It is direction. They are working hard with no structure. You ask one more question. What have you already spent on this? Supplements, gym membership, protein, gear? They add it up. Maybe 300 pounds over 6 months, and they have nothing to show for it. Now you have the full picture. They are not cheap. They are already spending money. They are just spending it on the wrong things. You say, honestly, it sounds like the issue is not how hard you are working. It is that you do not have a plan that fits your body and your schedule. Most people in your situation see results within 8 to 12 weeks once they have a program designed specifically for them. You have not mentioned your price. You have not sent a link. You have not pitched anything, but you have done something far more powerful. You have shown them you understand their problem better than they do, and you have made them see that the cost of continuing without a plan is more wasted months in the gym with nothing to show for it. Now, when they ask how much again, the price is not a barrier. It is the gap between where they are and where they want to be. You did not convince them. They convinced themselves. You just asked the right questions in the right order. The guru skips the questions because questions take time, and time does not scale. They want one landing page that sells to thousands of strangers simultaneously. And it works, short term. But the refund rate is high, the reviews are bad, and the customers do not come back. The real salesperson takes the time to understand the individual. It is slower. It does not scale as fast. But the customer gets results, tells their friends, and comes back for more. The guru plays a short game. The real salesperson builds a business. And when you have made your case, you do one more thing. You ask, does this feel like the right fit? What would you need to feel comfortable getting started? And then you stop talking. The silence after that question is the most valuable silence in business. Most people cannot stand it. They fill the silence, add more features, offer discounts, undermine their own case. The best salespeople ask the question and wait, because the person who talks first in that silence loses. The part that changes everything. Here is what most people get wrong about persuasion. They think it is something you do to people. The most effective persuaders in the world understand it is something you do with people. You are not pushing them somewhere. You are clearing the path to somewhere they already want to go. The desire was there before you arrived. The fear was also there. Your job is to make the desire larger than the fear. That is it. That is the whole profession. Every technique, every trigger, every question and silence comes back to that one equation. When the desire outweighs the fear, they buy. When the fear outweighs the desire, they do not. Good salespeople tip the scales. Great salespeople understand what is on each side before they even begin, because they took the time to ask. And then they listened. That is what the man in the shiny shirt at the dealership understood. He was not selling you a car. He was selling you back to yourself, the version that drives something nice, that takes care of their family, that makes a smart decision. You were not persuaded. You were given permission.